What's up, everybody? Metal Dave here, along with my co-host Jason McMaster, bringing you another episode of the Talk Louder podcast. Today, we are joined by Alex Wein and Janiece Gonzalez of the band Mean Mistreater. They are an Austin-based heavy metal band. They've got 2 albums out. One's called Razor Wire. The second one is called Do or Die. There is a video for the track Do or Die that just came out. It's on YouTube. It's awesome. If you've never heard or seen the band before, it's a great introductory point. Look it up. Do or Die from Mean Mistreater. It's on YouTube. And, they've been around only 2 years, but they've accomplished a lot in that time. They've created quite a buzz here in Austin and around Texas. They just returned from a European tour that was successful. They had their first album was reviewed by Classic Rock Magazine, which is no small feat for a local band that just gets started. That's an international full-color glossy magazine, so kudos for that. And I describe them as sort of a cross between WASP and the new wave of British heavy metal. They're sort of power metal, heavy metal. There's a little bit of a thrash element, and Janiece just has this super ballsy voice that suits the music. There's so much power in the music, and they carry it over on stage as well. The show is great. They're explosive.
They're going to tell you they're just a rock and roll band, and they're not wrong. But Dave, you kind of hit the nail on the head with the WASP, and we talked to them about this in depth during this interview, and it's part of the interview that I really enjoyed and got excited about because, in the end, it is just rock and roll, and what your theme is, if you're anywhere near Motorhead, I'm a fan already.
Yes.
And they are steeped in that kind of a thing. So, I think that it's always a breath of fresh air. And if I may speak locally for a second, when a band like that pops up, because, there's been a series of, we've been lucky enough in the Austin area to have a bunch of bands like Mean Mistreater come through that are influenced by a lot of the same kind of stuff. High Watt Crucifixers, they were a lot like that. Maybe a little bit more metal sometimes, but still just kind of seated in punk rock, but very rock and roll. And I want to say, there was a band that was actually pre-Igniter that was kind of like that, and they were called Tang. They had a female singer and everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they were kind of like that too. So I think that it's great when something like that pops up again and go, oh yeah, here we go. So it's a long line of, aren't we lucky to be in this situation where our scene kind of, has these things coming. Now, I did learn a lot, and I'll wait for them to explain, but these guys are, this couple here are from, they're not from Texas. So for them to kind of meet via rock and roll and then, running into each other by doing a gig, and they don't know each other, and then next thing you know, they're this dynamic duo. It's like, okay, yeah, it's on. And then, a few years later, boom, lucky us in Central Texas, we have a band called Mean Mistreater that they are the brainchildren of. So great having them. They're doing fantastic, continued success. And
they're kind of like the Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo of heavy metal, the husband and wife team. And if you mentioned Motorhead, anyone that's watching or listening, if you're a fan of Motorhead, WASP, Iron Maiden, Raven, and of course a lot of the female-fronted metal bands like Warlock and Chastain and stuff like that, this is right up your alley. It's gritty. It's aggressive. It's got some punk rock fury behind it. It's black leather bullet belts, Motorhead T-shirts. It's greasy. It's gnarly. I love it. And they do it so well. They do it great. So if any of that sounds intriguing, do yourself a favor, because they had me from the get-go the first time I saw them. So, yeah. Mean Mistreater today on the Talk Louder podcast. I've been waiting to do this for a while. Lots to talk about. 2 albums, a mention in Classic Rock Magazine, European tour. Apparently a second European tour is already possibly in the works. But a lot of our audience may not be familiar with you. So let's start with some background, some history. Tell us how Mean Mistreater came about and how you two met and how you ended up in Austin, because I don't believe you're originally from Austin, are you?
No.
We were just talking about that. I was surprised as well.
See, I'm reading your minds.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So like Alex and I met in San Francisco when we were both living there. Originally, I'm from Southern California. He's from Baltimore, Maryland. But we ended up meeting because my band Wild Eyes from San Francisco and his band War Cloud were playing a show together. And I had like a Wayne's World moment when I saw him on stage. I was like, he will be mine.
Nice.
but you know, I saw him and I was like, man, that dude can play. And he was like really cool. And then we started hanging out and been together for a while now. But when we moved here, we just wanted an opportunity to like kind of grow our lives and meet new people. And the Bay can get really small, but it's wonderful. You know, there just wasn't a lot of opportunity for blue collar workers like us when all the tech stuff started happening. Definitely doesn't lack in the music department. That's for sure. There's so many excellent bands in the Bay. I mean, all of our friends play in the Bay still, like, you know, well into their late 50s and 60s, you know, they're still playing. But when we got here, we're just like, weren't, you know, wanting to give up music. And I've always wanted to sing in a heavy metal band. It's been like a dream of mine. So we moved here and then.
Yeah, we actually started writing some tunes together, like leading up to our departure from the Bay. And it just so happened that we moved to Austin like 3 weeks before COVID hit. And so
I was sick.
2 years, 2 years later, we started going out and meeting more people and kind of solidified like the first, iteration of Mean Mistreater, and finally got it off the ground.
How did you, maybe not how did you, but because I could probably guess and be close to right. How did you meet Quentin? Because I've known Quentin since he was little.
We heard.
Yeah.
Well,
San Antonio.
He was like touring with the band Saber.
Right.
And my band War Cloud was doing some dates. Oh, it was all around Hell's Heroes. We were all touring Texas with Hell's Heroes. Because Saber was on it, War Cloud was on it. And
so this would have been what year? Like 3 years ago?
2022.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and so that's how we met Quentin, because we all played in San Antonio together.
That's actually where we started hanging out with John too, our original bass player. He was at that show too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was really serendipitous that just all like kind of happened at the same time. It was actually like the week after we had gotten married on the way. Like all my friends were still here visiting. We're like, fuck it, let's all go to Hell's Heroes. Like he was going. And Q's like, if you ever want to jam, we're like, actually, hell yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I think he was like on his way out of leaving LA again to come back to Austin too. It was just like, it was kind of all perfect timing.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I think he was out there tending bar for work. I don't know what. I think he was bartending out there.
Nice.
So, but it seems to me that, like, I mean, were you married pre-COVID or right after?
After.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, wow. So there's a lot going on in that, in just the 5 or 10 minutes.
Well, after COVID, we're like, we got to do all this stuff, like we're just like so pent up. I'm like, we got to fucking go to every show. We got to like write all the songs, and
it's impressive that you literally gathered zero fucking moss. You know what I mean? It just went bam, and all that. Like you guys are magnets to each other. And then obviously you guys are like bringing this stuff in. So this stuff in like, you know, I'm used to things that are, you know, serendipitous happening, you know, in short amounts of time. When I look at my career, it's things like happen, or they're not going to, you know, it's either a thing that just lasts forever and it's like, meh, or it's like, bam, and it all goes. And it's like hippie shit. You start saying, man, this is supposed to happen, you know?
No, for real though. I mean, yeah, it's a feeling. And I think us musicians, like just artistic people, or everyone actually, you know, like when you get that feeling, or as we like to say, like everyone in the band, we're like, well, if we got the gas, let's just, you know, pedal to the metal. Like if we have it now, just fucking write as much as you can, because you never know if that's going to go away. So you got to kind of like seize the day, if you will. You know?
Yeah, I call that when I'm back to when I'm talking about writing and creating. I guess it could spread on and be in the same sandwich. Yeah. But I call that being juicy.
Dude,
when you're juicy, you wake up and you go get the pen and paper, or you start the car, or you know, that sees the day. But when you have that, it's not like that all the time. Well, I'll speak for myself. It's not like that all the time for me. Sometimes I'm just dried up. Yeah. So when you're juicy, go.
You guys have definitely made up for lost time over COVID. The band's been together like 2 years, already 2 records out, already a buzz in Austin and elsewhere. I remember the first time I saw you play, you were actually opening for one of Jason's bands, Igniter, and our friend Mike Gupta was filling in on bass for you. Mm-hmm. And I was going to go to that show anyway to see Igniter, and Mike called me and said, hey, I'm filling in for this band. You might want to show up early and check it out. And I'm like, okay, I'll show up early and support Mike in this, you know, in this project that he's working on, or substituting or whatever. And I got there and I was just like, oh my God, where's this band been? They're from Austin. And I remember I was standing right next to Mike Solis the entire gig. And Mike, of course, is the singer for Militia, a well-respected Texas metal band and good friend of Jason's. And he and I just kept looking at each other after every song going, dude, this is amazing. So I was sold right then and there. And as you guys know, I've tried to make it to every show and just kind of follow you. And I'm a big fan. And the 2 albums that you've done, they're both on Dying Victims Records. And the first record, Razor Wire, was self-released, I understand. And then you got picked up by Dying Victims, and they sort of reissued it, I guess. And so first of all, I don't like to put words in people's mouths, but when I describe Mean Mistreater to people, I kind of say you're like a cross between Wasp and new wave of British heavy metal.
I like that.
How would you guys describe yourself?
I don't want to spoil it, and I'm pins and needles to hear what they kind of would self-describe, but it is power metal about a third of the time, not all the time, but maybe that power metal is not necessarily new wave or British heavy metal. Like Raven is not power metal, Tigers of Pantang is not Diamond Head is not power metal. So where did the power metal, you know, on with the question, but I want to know where the power metal thing sprinkled into, because I hear the Wasp now that Dave brings it up. I hear the Wasp.
Yeah. How would you guys describe yourselves to people that aren't familiar?
Man. I mean, to boil it down to one sentence, I think it's just, you know, rock and roll or heavy metal, but it's kind of hard. Like, if we had to get granular, I feel like we kind of cross over into so many little subgenres that it's hard to just pinpoint. But, you know, from power metal to new wave of British heavy metal to classic American heavy metal, we kind of just do what feels natural. I mean, we don't really like set out to like it has to be this or has to feel this way. It kind of just ends up being what it is. And
and that's like how I would describe. I mean, that's it's crazy because that's the question that we always get, and they're like, So like, how would you, or like, you know, when you're trying to like write these like, these magazine interviews, so you have to like actually write it down and not like explain it.
Right, right.
To be honest, it's just, I don't know. I watch the way that we write and the way, you know, usually it's just a few of us sitting here in this front room. We have a jam room in our house, but we'll just like start writing and then I'll like catch a harmony, like a vocal melody over it. And I'm like, dude, let's just go with this and run with it. And I think our music is telling of like all of our backgrounds of like all of our tastes. Like I know that I grew up listening to a shitload of thrash and punk and like fucking southern rock and heavy metal, glam metal. I mean, I'm from LA, so I got the whole Slayer suicidal thing, and then I got the like, you know, Sunset Strip kind of thing, but always like the gritty side of stuff. And I think it kind of shows in my vocals. I'm not really like super singy all the time with this band, but it's a vibe. It's like a feeling that we get, and I'm happy with whatever anyone wants to call us, as long as you're into the music, because it's just fucking heavy metal, rock and roll to us, really, at least for me.
Yeah,
tell us about your. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to say, you know, back to the Wasp thing. Wasp is not butt metal either.
Yeah,
Wasp is not really a Sunset Strip thing. You know, they're not Poison, and they're not Motley Crue, and they're not Kiss, and they're not whatever you want to call it. I hate the term hair metal because it really doesn't have anything to do with what is coming out of the speakers.
Right.
But the point is, and Wasp is a perfect band. I'm glad Dave sort of like put that imprint, because they're not a power metal band, and they're not just a rock and roll band, and they're not just sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and they're not a thrash band, but they're also not a hair metal band, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They are like this very well-seasoned, I'm going to piss off your parents. So whatever that is, I think that is what Blackie and, you know, his band are ultimately trying to do. And so ultimately the hangups that young people have, I'll just say young to be generic, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You know, should I? I want to. Why? Because your parents told you not to, right? And I feel like you guys have a lot of that in there, and that could carry over into Iron Maiden. It could carry over into, you see my point, right? So
yeah, totally.
I feel like you guys, the crossover thing works with you guys. I don't really hear... I hear a thrash influence. Of course, these guys like thrash and punk, but it's because of the attitude your songs have.
And that's the thing. That's like number one. I mean, it's when we have described ourselves as blue collar heavy metal, is because we literally all are like literally working with tools, coming home filthy. Every single one in the band, every single one of us is like super blue collar, working in this fucking Texas heat, coming home. We have a lot to be thankful for, but a lot to be angry about. And I think it's just it's a social climate, I think, that's affecting the way that I'm singing and writing too. I don't want to get like super crazy into politics, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff as a Latina woman, like in the United States, to be upset about, you know, and to feel like I need to defend myself and my art and my right to like have a voice. So like our last record, especially, the whole theme of that album was just, you know, getting my power back. You know what I mean? And just saying like, fuck you. This is like what I'm going to do. Like, do or die, literally, like seize the moment, dude. Like, do it, you know?
Yeah.
Don't hold back, because we don't know how much longer we got. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of vibe our band really goes for. And I know that that's the way they go into writing the music. It's really it just gels really well. And I'm really thankful for these guys.
Tell us about your vocals, Janiece, because to me, you've got a great voice. It's super powerful, ballsy voice. Do you have any formal training, or did you just learn by doing, or what? Because I think your voice has a lot of muscle and power and grit, and it obviously suits the music. But I think a lot of times when people hear female fronted, they're gonna think that there's a feminine vocal attached to it. And with you, I just feel like you're just tough as nails. You're not Cookie Monster, of course. It's very melodic, but it's super, super powerful. So where does that come from?
Man, honestly, like I've been singing since I can remember. You remember back in the day when they had those like the voicemail boxes like at your house, the little tapes, you know, like you had to like record like your go your out message or whatever. I remember being a little kid and just like singing to like my mom's Waiting to Exhale soundtrack and just wanting to hear what my voice sounded like in the 90s, you know? Like, and I remember like a couple times I actually forgot to erase it and re-record a message. Like, we're not home right now. And my aunt called and was like, is that you, Janiece? You know, like, is that you singing? But anyway, I mean, yeah, I wanted to sing and be a singer since I can remember. A lot of my, yeah, I didn't have any vocal training per se when I first started. I did go to a vocal coach a couple times when I was living in San Francisco because I was losing my voice a lot. And I think I just didn't know how to use it. But a lot of my influences, to be honest, are women like Etta James or like Dan McCafferty. Like I love fucking Nazareth. I love like really heavy chest vocals because that's what I have. I'm not like, I don't have a super high range. But I really carry all my power in my chest. And I think that tells a lot about me as a person too. Like I just like, that's just how I am. But actually, one of the coolest things about moving here is I joined HAM and I never really got to use any of the benefits, but they had this vocal coach. So I was like, fuck, I'm going to start touring Europe again. And now I'm in my 40s and I can't like, I don't have like the energy and stamina that I did before. So it's like, I need a little help. And they hooked me up with this guy, Eric Landry, who is a laryngist and isn't really necessarily like teaching me how to sing, but more like how to notice when things are off and like how to like harness my power. And I'm really grateful for that. And just, it's actually given me the confidence to try new vocal styles too. So I don't know. That's like technically what I've been doing as far as like training, but influence, again, it could go from, like I said, like old blues, soul, old R&B, to, you know, people like Pat Benatar and fucking Bonnie Tyler. I mean, I love I love all those 80s like raspy women singers. And
do you know who Darby Mills is?
Darby Mills.
Darby
No.
Mills, yeah. She was in a band called the Headpins, and I think she was in Chili Whack. She's Canadian, and you have a lot of that in there. She has a killer range, but she has the tone that you have.
That's awesome. I'll check it out.
Yeah, you should check it out. Darby Mills, and you know, from pop music to, you know, radio friendly shit, but it's rock.
Yeah.
It's kind of dancey sometimes, and you know, if I say she has your tone, it doesn't matter what kind of music it is, right? As long as that razor is there, and she's definitely has that. So you have a little bit of that. Learning how to breathe and use your pipes in the same in you know, in a way of kung fu, where you know you have to learn how to. And I'm not telling you what to do, but you know, I'm 60 now, so it's kind of like it's a weird place to, you know. I mean, I sing in the stratosphere all the time, so I have to be
impressive, man.
I have to be careful about, you know, you don't have to break the boards. In, you know, talking kung fu metaphors, you don't have to break the boards. You just have to sound like you're going to.
Right.
And it's a kung fu to know that you don't have to use everything you've got to get the tone that you want.
True.
So you're holding it back, and you want to save some for tomorrow.
Exactly.
Especially when you're on tour, and that's what sounds like you're kind of going through.
Yeah.
Do you feel like here's a kind of two-part? Do you feel like you have to get more rest, drink more water, less booze, you know, things like that when you're, Yeah,
I have a routine for sure.
Oh, good.
I mean, I want to continue. I would like to continue singing and touring for as long as I can. I mean, one of my favorite metal singers, Leather Leone from Chastain and stuff, she's still out there playing Brazil, I feel like, every weekend. So good for her. You know, I really admire that. And like Doro's still doing stuff, but I know, like, I've even kind of looked into it. I'm like, you know, like, what am I, as you get older, and as a woman, you know, like, just needing more, like, beauty rest too, I guess, because you don't want to look all puffy and gross.
I get it.
But yeah, I have a routine, man. I don't talk at all. As I try not to talk at all.
Yeah, that might be might be
Alex is
tough
like,
for
"I'm
someone.
not working out
Might
so
be
well."
tough for someone like you, man.
No, but I had to teach myself not to really be super engaged with people after shows. I think that was what big thing was. So
yeah,
like,
that's part of the kung fu I'm talking about. You have to kind of learn how to like save some for tomorrow, save some for later, having some kind of reserve tank, you know?
Totally. And just lip trills immediately as I wake up, drinking a shitload of water. I actually have this vocal nebulizer that I use a lot from a brand called Vocal Mist that I highly recommend to any singer because it is insanely beneficial. Like I can't even tell you. Even now when I'm sick, it like just helps clear you out. But definitely not talking. No, like I said, just warming up my voice and really understanding that if it hurts, like to stop. You know, you're doing it wrong if it hurts. But yeah, it's like anything, right? You got to just keep exercising it and practicing it and just being easy, like stretching. You know, you're not gonna go full blown splits after sitting in a chair all day.
Well, and it can also be kind of a. I mean, I'm going to talk about warming up. It doesn't your vocal warm up can be some kind of mental warm up. It doesn't always have to be, you know, scales and runs and you know breathing and lip trill. It doesn't always have to be that. It can be just this mental thing. Okay, I'm not going to talk for an hour. Okay, I'm going to gargle. Okay, I'm going to do the. You know, it can just be this like routine, like you say. It doesn't always have to be me.
Right. No, and I think sleep is number one.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't drink on tour, but at least I drink until a certain time and then I go to sleep.
Well, and then rock and roll years, you know, you only have to be awake for an hour.
True.
You know, you only have to be good for an hour, you know.
It's true, dude. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, so you have 23 hours to spend how you want. But as a singer, a lot of that better be chilling.
Yeah. Tell us how you hooked up with Dying Victims, because your albums are amazing looking. You know, I'm not going to open these up right here, but I mean, there are tons of like posters, stickers, all these extra goodies inside the albums. The artwork is awesome. And I went to their website and it's not just you. It's like everything they put out is like packaged like a Kiss record. It's just like posters, stickers, patches, all this crazy stuff. How did you hook up with them? Because they're based out of Germany, from what I understand. How did they find you, or how did you find them, et cetera?
I reached out to Flo maybe a month after we self-released Razor Wire, just overwhelmed by the response. I mean, we were getting hit up for wholesale orders from across seas. Like we were just getting bombarded with like orders from all over the world, and it was kind of stressful to like keep up with that. We only did a limited run of 200 vinyl for our first pressing, and after a month it was just too much, and I felt like I needed to reach out to a label to get some support and help with getting the music out there. And to be honest, most labels don't want to re-release a record that came out last month. So,
kicker right there.
Like, it was a lot of immediate no's. We can't. Sorry, we like the music, but you already released it. Except for Flo.
Yeah.
He was just like, "Wow, this is great. I'd love to team up with you." And if it's true that all these people are hitting you up for wholesale in his area, Germany specifically, it would probably be a good win-win for both parties. And it just so happens that he was going, this was in 2023, and the record came out in February. 2 months later was Hell's Heroes, and he was actually coming out for it.
Yeah.
And
We got to kick it with him.
yeah, we met him in person. And once we hung out with him at Hell's Heroes, that was like sealed the deal. He's like, okay, this guy's one of us. He's the real deal. He just wants to make awesome stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, his taste in bands is phenomenal. You know, I don't think Dying Victims has put out a bad record, you know, ever since we met this guy. And so,
Thank God there's dudes like him, you know?
Yeah.
Really
Thank
honest
God.
and cool.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a few of them out there that like totally they're believers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have I wouldn't even call them garage labels. I would call them like these lifers
Right.
who have just enough disposable income to start their own label and have like pro distribution and do the releases correct.
Yeah. I mean, he's grown so much. Like it's
Yeah.
since he re-released our first record, although I can't talk. It was really impressive to see just going through Europe and all these towns, just like, oh my gosh, everyone's saying Dying Victims is the best European record label right now. Dying Victim is the best. And then we played the fucking festival. We're like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
It was a huge festival. Like, I feel like if he had the space, he could pull something off. Maybe that's half as big, at least right now, as like Hell's Heroes. Like, there was so many people there. I was stoked. It's probably one of the best festivals I've ever been to. And I was really stoked that we were part of it, you know, and all the bands that were at that fest were on the label and they're great.
Which festival was this?
Dying Victim.
Dying
Victims Attack.
Yeah.
But that's not his only fest that he puts on throughout the year. I think he does 3 now.
He just, Battle Cry?
Battle Cry just happened, and Metal and Hell happens in like October or November.
Yeah.
So he stays busy.
Sounds like it.
You guys, the label's in Germany, and you just did a European tour. And from what I could tell, everything went amazing. Your first visit to Europe looks like you had good crowds, and there's already talk about going back. So tell us about the reception in Europe and just your day-to-day experience of being overseas.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was a great tour. There were no bad shows, you know, especially for our first time being out there. We were didn't really know what to expect, you know, just kind of hope for the best and plan for the worst. And it couldn't have gone better, really. People were clued in, probably thanks to Flo.
Yeah.
We ended up booking the whole thing ourselves, just anchoring it around Dying Victims Attack. When we got that offer to come out there, we were like, man, we have to take this. But, you know, we didn't really just want to go back. We didn't want to go to Europe with just a single record either, you know? So getting that offer to play Dying Victims Attack lit the fire. They were like, okay, we need to write another album so we have 2 while we're out there.
That's literally how it happened. We're like, let's fucking do it.
Never been under such pressure, but to go from maybe like we had 2 songs, you know, when we got the offer, and then it had to be all turned in like 3 months.
That's like
4 months.
Artwork, everything. So like from recording, mastering to getting it out with art was 3 months that we did everything.
So how many tunes were you missing? You had 2. Did you write 8 more, 10 more?
7.
Okay.
6 more.
It's hard to. It was such a blur.
No, like Alex's band and my band this was my 4th European tour with as a musician. And then he had been to Europe twice before that too. Yeah. So it was really cool because we got to when we booked this, we kind of pulled from our friends and venues that we had played before, like Vortex and Siegen, and like this guy from Germany, Christian Drager, who had Who Can You Trust Records, put out one of my first records I ever did. He his band played with us. So it was kind of like a little reunion kind of thing.
Yeah.
And our first show, we had people that I played Duna Jam. I was on Heavy Psych Sounds for records for a while, like Duel and all those dudes. But people from Duna Jam I met showed up, and it was just so cool. And it felt like, you know, the work that we had put in before wasn't lost, because it sucked that those bands kind of had to stop, but it just felt really good to be back out there and like seeing Europe now, as a, you know, an older adult who can appreciate it more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, not be like fucking wasted the whole time. I like remembered everything. It was great.
Yeah, that's good.
Right,
That's good. So
right.
you were booking these through acquaintances. Were you using backline, sharing backline with those guys?
No, we traveled with our own backline and driver and van just from the past work tours. We just used the same contacts and just.
Yeah, Jan from Amazon Tour is fucking awesome. He's like our best bud now.
Nice.
He provided the back line and the van, and he was our driver. And
He's a tour angel.
yeah, he is. And I mean, we talk to him like literally every day on WhatsApp still. But
That's
yeah.
nice to
Tour
just
angel. I like that.
yeah, that's good. That sounds like
If you can find one, you need to hang on to that, right?
got to find a way to incorporate that in a lyric, maybe.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just a
And,
ballad about Jan.
dedicate, yeah,
Talk
dedication
about
there.
like his love for dumplings and Orval beer. Yeah.
See, it sounds like you've already got something going already.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a small thing, but to use the same backline every night is golden.
Dude,
As
yeah.
opposed to have to figure out the fucking amp every night because it's a different amp, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was Jan's gear, so if anything went wrong, you know, I think he even had like a backup, or
Yeah.
you know, he was on it. So there was stress there. I definitely had a tour where the kick pedal was out the second show, and we had to like figure out where the fucking this little Italian town you could go to a music store, you know, like so that stress wasn't there. That's
Yeah,
great.
duct tape's not going to fix it tonight, right? Yeah.
Tell us about the artwork, because you have a continuation. There's sort of a running theme between the two album covers. And I noticed, because I'm a nerd and I read all the credits and the liner notes and everything, that Alex Hagen is involved in the design, but then there was another guy who actually did the artwork. His name escapes me at the moment.
Edgar.
Sorry? Edgar,
Edgar Regalado. Yeah, he's actually a native Texan artist. You know, he lives down in
I think the valley, like South Valley. Texas.
somewhere near McAllen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were from Baltimore, Alex. So, so is there a connection to the Ravagers or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They were like
Yeah.
BFFs. Like
Alex Hagen and I were in a band before he before it evolved into Ravagers.
Ah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Ravagers are awesome too.
Yeah, they're sick.
Yeah.
One of the best punk bands right now,
I
for
think,
sure.
and he's a great artist. I mean, we use him for a lot of our local flyers and like our European posters. We give
that
him our
guy.
money because he's fucking
Yeah.
sick.
So
Yeah.
He did Do
Hagen
or
and I
Die.
go way back.
He did Do or Die.
He did the design for
Oh,
Deer
okay.
and Razor
Like
Wire.
the layouts, but the
Yeah.
artwork was done by Edgar.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but the idea behind that, like, I just really didn't want some crazy, overcomplicated. I don't know. I'm an artist, so I think about things in like a marketable kind of way, where like I love how bold like Motorhead and like Kiss and like, you know, and it's like I wanted people to be able to like recognize our band if they saw it on the shelf, not like some watercolor painting of a dragon or something, which I think is beautiful, but I feel like I wanted people to just walk by and like see it, like kind of like old skateboarding, like Powell art and stuff like that. Like I love that kind of vibe. That's like what I grew up around.
Yeah.
So I saw that Edgar had like this really cool striking stuff, almost looked like old Harley t-shirts and stuff too, with like very simple, striking, cool stuff. And that's how we got the idea of just like, can you do a skull like cut cotton razor wire, you know? And then we liked it so much that I was like, you know what? Let's just fucking do the same guy. I mean, keeping something continuous and that kind of like bleeds into all of our music going forward would be cool, and people would know it's us. And I love it, and I love supporting a small artist like him in this state too. So.
Yeah.
Some might say don't paint yourself into a corner, like use the same kind of thing all the time. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Worked for Iron Maiden.
This close this close to having a mascot, I think is okay.
I mean, even Rocket has their dudes, you know, like everyone has a guy.
Everybody has something, right?
Dangerous Toys. Yeah.
And if you don't,
Right?
Megadeth, everybody has something, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that you're onto something by making it just this like sort of like brand, this thing that you see, like the KISS logo, the AC/DC logo, your logo.
Yeah, your logo.
Keep your logo as long as you can because it's done right.
So
It's
speaking
fat
of
lines.
Speaking of the logo, is the band named after the Grand Funk song? Everybody makes that assumption, but I wanted to ask you directly.
Well, I fucking love Grand Funk Railroad. But also, I mean, Muddy Waters used it. Mean Mistreater's used in like a lot of different song titles. And I thought that it would be really cool to like, it kind of like just described what I wanted people to like hear, you know? Like I wanted to like really fucking just fuck up Stone speakers. You know what I mean? Like play this fucking loud and it's mean music. And I thought like, paying an homage to them and I, you know, and old blues American musicians. Like, I was like, let's just be a little fluid with it and move it into like the heavy metal genre. Cause I didn't know if anyone would even, you know, ever do that. And I did.
Yeah.
So.
It does. It is an aggressive name. So it does work on that level for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Jason,
it also sounds, sorry, David, it also sounds like a title for a heavy metal song. It sounds like Lemmy wrote a song called that.
Yeah.
It sounds like, you know, so it has that it tone and sound. When you say mean mistreater, your head kind of goes, oh shit. You know?
Yeah.
Like going back to my voice, if I'm going to be really nerdy about it, Mean Mistreater like kind of describes me as a musician too, because like my past is in like heavy blues, like old, you know, that funk like music. That's where my vocal style comes from. And then, you know, but now I'm like putting forth this really strong vocal style for this band. And I think it kind of just describes us in a cool way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, back to the artwork just for a second and what we were kind of talking about, it's kind of, you know, this popping logo and a theme as well. When you think of old Pusshead stuff, you know, that has that same vibe. Some of it might be a little bit kind of busy. You know, he has a lot of shading sometimes, but always this super fat, like, you know, tattoo line. The outline is this super fat black line. I'm thinking of the Septic Death logo right now. And it had that really fat line with shading and, you know, technical little tiny lines, you know, cross hatching and shit like that.
Yeah.
But always popping. So yeah, I think that you're on. Yeah, I think you're on to something.
And Pusshead is one of those guys, when you see it, you know who it is.
Once
it's
again,
immediately identifiable. You know, I think I've shared this with Alex and Janiece before, but one of the things I love also about Mean Mistreater, and for me, it's always the music first, but to me, a strong second, if it happens, when it happens, is you guys look like a band. Like, you guys look like a gang, and they remind me of Crank County Daredevils, who Jason remembers very well. They were just one of these bands that everybody looked the part. The way they looked on stage was the way they looked walking down the street, and they had this really explosive stage presence when they were playing. And I see all of that in Mean Mistreater, and to me, that's just gravy. And I know you've been through a couple drummers and a couple bass players. The lineup is kind of turned over, you know, as far as the rhythm section. But I think where you've landed is just like, you guys are the whole deal. You got the visuals, you've got the music, you've got the stage energy. Janiece's voice, I think, is really unique. And so I try to, when I'm describing you to people and I'm pitching you to people, I try to put some emphasis on that, because I think people are really drawn to, you know what it is? It's like, I've taken people to see bands that they normally wouldn't listen to because the style of music is not their thing. And then they see it and they go, "Oh my God!" And they might not go out and buy every album or come back to all your shows, but they will go home and say, "That was a great time. I had a great night at that show."
That's what we want. Yeah, that's what we want, man.
I have a question. This is really silly, and this goes with what Dave is going. You look like a gang. You look like the lawn's gonna die when you walk on it. You know.
Oh, nice.
It's like,
I've never heard that one before.
Do you
That's a
guys?
Lemmy quote.
Do you? Yes, it is. Do you two guys have any shirts with sleeves on them? And that ties into what Dave is saying. It's rhetorical. It's a rhetorical
Not in fucking
question.
Texas, dude. No. No.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. Jason just wove in a little Lemmy quote. You never heard that, Janiece?
I wouldn't have a leg
famous-
to stand on if it wasn't for Lem.
The famous Lemmy quote is, "Motorhead was so bad that if we moved in next door to you, your lawn would die."
That's fucking awesome. Our lawn's fucking dead right now.
I rest my
It
case.
really happened.
I was just borrowing a beautiful quote, but I think my spin was, if Mean Mistreater just walked by your house, your lawn would die.
The paint would peel off and the lawn would die.
The pavement would crack. Whatever. You know?
Well, man, I mean, we literally just wear what we wear every day.
I know, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it for me, is that I can tell it's just genuine. It's just who you are, and that's what makes it. That's the same thing with Crank County Daredevils. That was just who they were. It wasn't a costume. It wasn't something you put on to get on stage. It's just, you guys that's what you look like. And this is going to segue nicely into, I wanted to talk about the video you just released. You released a video for the title track to your second album, Do or Die. And so you guys put out a bit of a casting call. You sort of advertised, come on down to this such and such location, Caps Automotive, where your bass player works. And we'll just have like a party in the parking lot, and everybody bring their hot rods, and we'll cook hot dogs and all this stuff. And so when I showed people the finished video, more than once I heard, "Where did they get this crowd?" And I was like, this is just their people. This is who they hang out with. These are their fans. This is the audience they attract. And I heard more than once people were just like, "Man, you couldn't have put that audience together out in Hollywood." It just was just so genuine, and it was just really cool. It was a cool gathering of your community, and it worked as a celebration too, because you're there recording your shooting your video. By the way, another Penny Rock Productions video, amazing work by the local crew here in Austin, Texas, Penny Rock Productions. Tell us about the video shoot, the concept behind the video, and just the day in general, because it was a fun time.
Dude, I feel like I saw that music video in my head when I wrote that song. Like that's that video is what that song's about. Like when I wrote it, I was like, all right, we have to do this at Caps. We have to have a drag race. We have to have hot dogs. And then I had this I literally even down to the pizza face mask that was in it. I mean, I've had that forever. I was like, man, I just want it to be not super overly produced or directed. I just want it to be like my friends, and I want it to look like what Mean Mistreater is all about. And we're just fucking laid back blue collar people who like to have a good time, we're nice people. We're not mean folks. We have good friends. It came to be like that. It was the Toughen Up, the local car crews kind of meet up. What was it, Memorial Day weekend kind of roundup? Yeah. So we're like, let's just have all the buds come over and do this. And when we're talking to Boudreaux about it, he's like, "Do you have an idea?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I already know what I want it to be." Yeah. Yeah. So it was fun for them too, because they got to just show up and be like, just videotape us having a good time, and then fucking A, turned out fucking cool.
Yeah,
then,
a lot of people smiling and having a good time, which is what it's all about anyway.
So, totally. Yeah.
It was I equate it with heavy metal parking lot. It was just a bunch of headbangers hanging out on asphalt parking lot, and there's all these hot rods around and everything. So and then the
a word
performance aspect was in the garage. So you kind of had the whole the environment of the gearhead sort of sense.
It's unscripted.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? It's like, sure, you had this vision about what the song has to say.
Yeah.
But in the end, I mean, it goes with like what Dave is saying. It's like you wear what you wear. Born a rocker, die a rocker. This is it. This is it. So
that's who we are.
yeah. So the photo album, it's the same. Turn the page. It's the same. It's the same. It's an extension of just what's going on in your lives as a band. So which makes it super easy. So yeah, that could have been the easiest. Something I would say is like, wow, that was the easiest video shoot I've ever done. I was just hanging out with my friends. Like at a rehearsal. Back when I was young, all my friends would show up to the rehearsal. That's what a rehearsal would look like.
Yeah, totally. It's kind of like a glimpse into like our lives, really. I mean, if you really want to know who we are as a band, I mean, there you go. And like, I mean, in LA, my grandfather was part of the Pharaohs car club community, that old car club. Like I grew up with like, all my elderly uncles having like those hot rod cars that like my Uncle Manuel used to race in the 50s. And like, I know Theron's family the same way. I mean, he's been racing. His dad was really into that. And he actually owns Caps, that shop. So he's working on these old cars. And Mike builds engines, our drummer, like.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
All like, I don't know. We're all just those kinds of guys, I guess.
Yeah. No, I think to Jason's point, it was a natural extension of the music. It was the visual component to the music. And again, the beauty of it is it wasn't contrived. It's like, hey, we want to shoot a video. Let's call our friends and boom, there it is. And then you see it and you go, this looks like somebody did a casting call and specifically asked for these types of people and these kinds of vehicles and this location. And it was just you guys using, as Jason likes to say all the time, using your resources.
Totally. And I'm glad y'all stuck around without being paid because it was hot as fuck in that garage.
It was. Yeah. It was
so hot.
It was so much fun. There was a good crowd there. A lot of my friends and you guys, and I'm always fascinated just watching the process, how it comes together. And then because I'm there on site watching it happen, when I see the finished product, that's always an interesting sort of juxtaposition too, because it's like I saw how this happened, and then the way things are edited or whatever. The video is it's really cool. It's fast moving. It's really cool. Penny Rock Productions did a great job. People need to check it out. It's called Do or Die. It's the title track of your second album. It's all over YouTube and it came out amazing. It's a great introductory to the band.
I will say Boudreaux had a really cool idea about like shooting us in the car with the projector behind us. So it looked like we were like driving at night. That was like, I was really stoked that he came up with that idea. It turned out, I was like, I don't know how it's going to look, but man, he nailed it, dude. He did a really good job and quickly too. So we're really thankful for that, dude.
Yeah. Oh my God. He turned that thing around in like a week. Cause I remember we were having this discussion about getting you guys on the podcast, and I wanted to make sure the video was available. So when we talked about it, people could leave the podcast and go check out the video. And so I asked Boudreaux, hey, when do you think that the video is going to drop? And he's like, oh, well, it's going to take he had a timetable of about 3 weeks. And then he said, and then the label is going to want to review it, et cetera, et cetera. I'm thinking, okay, we're looking at 4 to 6 weeks maybe. And then the next thing I know, he's sending me like a preview clip. It wasn't even a full week. I think it was 6 days later. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, dude, this looks amazing. You did this in 6 days? It's incredible.
Yeah, so, great. I was like, fuck, man, that fast.
That was a party. That was so much fun. Check out the video, Do or Die. What else? What's this European tour, and where are you with writing a third album? I guess you're not as under the gun as you were on the second album, but I'm sure you folks are always writing. So what's the future hold for Mean Mistreater?
Yeah, we're still feeling juicy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes, there's still some juice in this berry.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Spill the wine. Spill the wine.
Yeah.
We kind of got offers, sent to us while we were still in Europe, and things solidified pretty quickly, upon, getting back home and stuff. And we already have we have a couple festivals for next March, and we got a lot of interest from bookers and decided to start working with one who I'm not sure if we can say just yet.
Maybe not.
But it is really exciting to
have that off our backs too. It was fun booking it, but I'm like, sick, we can show up and play now.
Right.
Yeah. Working with your friends is cool, but leveling up and getting someone to like take interest in you and see what they can do for you is really exciting. So confirmed already, we're going to be doing Hell Over Hamburg in Germany, and we'll be hitting a lot of new countries like Poland and Czech Republic this time too. We're going to do Heavy Metal Thunder in Czech Republic and do some shows in Warsaw as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
As far as the new record goes, we're
on our way. On our way writing. I think we already have two in the bank.
Yeah, two.
Yeah.
Nice.
I doubt it's going to come out before March, but we are aiming to get it out next year. And
Yeah.
We may have a couple new songs to play at our next and last show this year at Lost Will in August. So hopefully we get to pull those out of the bag. That would be fun.
It's always nice to try on new material live before you record it.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I straight up will like sing a song even if I don't have the lyrics finished yet because no one knows. Anyways, I'm like, it's just fun. But so we definitely got that gas still. So we're trying to like bucket pedal to the metal. Like we're going, and we're stoked about next year. And we're playing a couple fest over Labor Day weekend. We're playing RPM and
Blaze of Steel. Blaze of Steel is in Madison, and RPM Fest in Western Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Wow. All right,
Awesome.
man. Calendar's starting to fill up. I love that. I love it. Well, you guys have accomplished a lot in 2 years. I mean, it's pretty incredible. 2 amazing albums, European tour. The video is amazing. Saw you guys in Classic Rock Magazine. That was awesome. So yeah, a lot of milestones for a band that's only been around for 2 years, and I think it's a credit to your music and your work ethic, and you're definitely doing something that people are interested in, and there is a reason you're my new favorite Austin metal band. So,
I always say, and Dave already probably knows what I'm going to say already.
I know what he's going to say.
If Metal Dave is a fan of your band, it's like money in the bank. You know what I mean? Because he's such a sweetheart. On top of, if he loves you, he's going to yell your band name out the window driving by people's houses. He's going to shout it from the rooftops, and that means something.
I'm glad you didn't realize he's like front row center in our music video too. So if you want to see this guy rock out, you better check out the video.
Well, I've got a name for Dave for that too, because I know Front Row Joe very well. Front Row Joe.
Joe reporting for duty, sir.
There he is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for all your support too. And like, we love seeing you out and hanging out with both y'all, and we see you guys out and about. You guys like truly support local music, and that means a lot to all of us. So when a band is as good as you guys and Jason, I do this all the time with Jason's bands. He's got a handful of bands that I try not to miss, and it's just one of those things. Music is my whole world, even though I'm not a musician. So when I see somebody that's doing what I want to see and hear, it's really special, and especially when you're local. So I have the opportunity to see you often. That's really cool too. So yeah, I knew the first time I saw you guys, I'm like, I'm going to be following this band around. So I'm glad that we've connected and that you're doing so well, and you got 2 cool albums out. Razor Wire and Do or Die are the 2 albums on Dying Victims Records. You can purchase that on your Bandcamp page. Is that right? Yeah, Mean Mistreater on Bandcamp. Look for the video, Do or Die. It's awesome.
And keep an eye on the calendar in the next year, because it sounds like Mean Mistreater is going to be around the world again. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. On behalf of my co-host, Jason McMaster, I'm Metal Dave, along with Alex Wein and Janiece Gonzalez today. Mean Mistreater on the Talk Louder podcast.
Love you guys. Thank you.